Jonathan, my man, I am super excited to sit down, talk with you about music, life, GEALDYR. What people don't know is that we have spent countless hours already talking, and you and I have both have been like, dude, we got to get this thing going, and we got to talk about just life and music, and so I'm excited that we have made it happen. How are you doing today, man?
Oh man, first of all, Tommy, thank you so much for just having me, and I'm happy that we finally having this talk because as you just said, like we already had like all these amazing talks, and we said, we need to record this stuff sometime, right? So
Yeah,
it's
man.
like it's so good to be here, man, and yeah, so today for me it's not a super great day to be very honest with you.
Hmm.
Got a lot of my health is not really good. And for people who don't know me, like I suffer from some chronic health problems, which are very intense with my muscles and nerves. So I
Hmm.
have just like lots of pain, a lot of fatigue. So
Yeah.
yeah, not a great day, but I'm gonna do my best.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate your time, dude. I don't take it for granted.
No, I know, brother. It's all
Yeah.
good, man. I really wanted to have a talk, man, and it's so nice that we could finally schedule it.
Yeah, dude. So, dude, GEALDYR, what is that? How did that come about?
Man, that's deep, huh?
Right away.
So, um, so yeah, man, how did it come about? Ah, so for me, music is a very important part of my life and always has been. Um, when I was around when I was around 17/18 years old. I became chronically sick, very, very, very ill,
Mhm.
and that's at around that time. It's also like it's still going on. It's more than 12 years now, uh, and around that time, it's like I in the begin phase, I was only able to lay on bed for like at least 3 years. It was a pure hell, and for me, I found a lot of escapism in music.
Mhm.
Um, and also kind of this spiritual connection that I was looking for because for example like when I was listening to bands like Wadruna, Heilung, etc. Also all other kinds of music like Enya even, like the calming kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, or Clannad. I don't know if you know, it's a Celtic band.
Mm.
Um, this kind of music really like um yeah gave me this connection of uh how to explain it, like this historical connection to, I would say, towards my ancestors, but also especially bands like Vadrun and Heilung towards nature, the combination between nature
Mm.
and music. And even though I wasn't able to go out of my house at that time, I was still able to travel because of the music, so to speak. And that was very powerful. And I always said if I'm a bit better, or if I am able to create some music, or if I'm able to create something, I really would love to create music. So that's kind of like how that went. Um and the name Gyaldir itself came about because I saw like this little white deer in the forest close to my house. So it's like, yeah, that was a crazy story. We talked about that
Yeah.
already personally, but uh, yeah,
It came about you were walking with a friend, right? And you were like,
yeah,
"Hey, I want to do this project and we need a name." And it was almost like
It's super. It's insane, man. It's like we were talking about it. I was like, I don't know what to name it. I don't even know how I wanted to make it sound. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I had little music experience at the time, and at that moment I just saw this little white deer, and I just felt that if it's from the universe or however you want to
Yeah.
call that. Like it's a very spiritual kind of experience to see such a little deer. And I was like, yeah, it's like white deer. That's what I want to call it. So I took the Gaelic word gal, what means white or bright,
Hmm.
and then you have the Old Norse word dier for deer, GEALDYR. So because I really wanted to combine Celtic elements with like Nordic
Yeah.
elements, that was kind of really like my goal, and also still is. So that's kind of what I'm yeah aiming for. But I of course started out with like a lot of Old Norse music, so like the Old Norse language. That's really what I really focused on, and I'm also slowly looking more into Gaelic as well. And yeah, so that's kind of how
Yeah.
that started.
It's very interesting, man, because when it comes to old ways of life and cultures and traditions, I lean personally more towards Celtic and Gaelic
Yeah.
as well. Like there's something
Hmm.
about those stories of folklore and those those cultures, those traditions that were done, especially like with druids and everything.
Yeah.
There's such a pull to it, and I know that you focus on I feel like you wouldn't be making this music if you didn't feel that pull, that deep spiritual pull, right? If you just heard the music
Yeah.
when you were kind of sick, you just heard it and you're like, "Oh, that kind of sounds cool." But
Yeah.
something was like birthed inside of you, like, and have you always been like a spiritual person or
Yeah, so I was raised Christian in a very
Mm,
like Christian environment, and it's also when I got sick, it was for me like really like looking into ways like, oh, hopefully I will heal, and but for me, um, it's actually a very interesting situation, because for me it felt like letting go of my kind of like my Christian upbringing and that way of seeing life, basically,
mm,
and to really kind of like embracing more the nature and let's say the old ways of looking at healing. Or because what's healing, right? Like healing is not always physical healing, or that you can walk again, or that you, for me, I felt in many ways, call it spiritual healing, however you want to call it, because my sickness is not gone, and it will never go away, sadly. I wish it would, but the reality is how it is. And for me to, I would say, through the suffering that I went through, I was letting go of Christianity, and also kind of like embracing more kind of what came before. Where do my ancestors truly come from, or what do they truly believe? Like what were their roots? Kind of like that. And of course, I mean, cultures, religion, spirituality, it changes over, um, decennia or ages, you name it.
yeah.
But for me, the core principle, there's a huge difference between religion or spirituality. And when I found out the whole concept about animism, this is what really kind of like really grabbed my interest a lot, and attention. And I, yeah, just fully dove into that. Also, history wise, I just wanted to know everything about it. And the more I read, the more it was like, wow, this makes so much sense. Like all human beings, like all forms of religions, they come basically of a form of the animistic idea of that everything around us is alive, like every stone, the water, like
Yeah.
we of course are alive, but animals, also plants, they communicate, but in a different way.
Hmm.
And I think that is very, yeah, very strong. So yeah,
It's interesting. I feel like as humans, we feel like we need something to reach for. Like we need a
yeah,
god or we need a system or but what's funny about like what you're saying with nature, I feel like with people that are drawn to nature, we all we need is to just be. We just need to rest in
exactly.
that. And what I have found too has been that like with nature, nature has never lied to me. Nature has
No,
never steered me wrong. Nature is truthful with how it presents itself.
nature
And
is what it is. It doesn't lie. Doesn't, you know? It it doesn't judge. All
mm,
these things like when animals are fighting in nature, nature's not interfering here, right? So
yeah,
you will never see that happening. And yeah, for me, it's like um, it's almost like this calmness that nature provides. When I walk into the forest, I feel so much life, and at the same time, so much peace and so much calm, and all these concepts of I don't know. There are many different names that people can give it, but for me, it has a lot of truth, and I find a lot of peace and rest for myself in that,
yeah,
and also like because how to say that as you said, to just be, like, we are born, we are born to live, to just be, like, we don't know exactly where we came from, what was before, who knows what was before, right? We
yeah,
don't know exactly. So to just be live, to be alive, it's like a form of awareness almost. And I think that religion many times comes in the way of our souls truly growing in this life, let's say it like that, because who knows whatever is next or whatever. You
yeah.
know what I mean? So yeah, that's how I see it. Um and it's kind of interesting because a lot of people say, "Oh man, your life is horrible," or it's. And I say, "Well, it is very heavy. It's very heavy with my health, but I've learned so much. Like it feels like I've lived a couple of lifetimes or something." And I'm only 30, so I'm really thankful for this experience, because at the end of the day, what is life? We all are born and we're all gonna die one day. That's the reality. And what modern humans are trying to do is just live their lives till it's the end. And they don't like to be confronted with that because, of course, I mean, who likes death? I mean, everybody wants to live forever, but this is not the core of life. This is not what we are meant to be. Like, everything is born, or everything has a start and a cycle that comes to an end. And I'm talking about this cycle because I do believe that it's a cycle. Everything in
Yeah.
nature revolves in the cyclical way. The Celtic people very much believed in this cyclical path of nature, just as Nordic people. And it's, yeah, man, I can talk a lot about that stuff. To come back about what you said about the Druids, how that's interesting for you. It's so sad that they never wrote anything down, because everything was given as an oral tradition, right?
Yeah.
So if only we would have truthful writings from them, I would have loved to read a lot about that, because what we know from the Romans, for example. So yeah,
Dude, I'm actually reading a book on the path of Druidry, and they were talking about how some people maybe didn't realize that like Druids were in places of power, political power,
yeah,
and people would travel to talk with these people that have this knowledge. And I'm with you, man. Like, can you imagine having, written records to to step into the minds? Like they're lost to history, but
yeah.
I think with the music you make, and just like Heilung and Wardruna and all that, I think there is something that is deeply, I think a lot of people are hurting inside,
Oh
and they
yeah,
and
yeah,
they and they don't know what to do. They don't know where to turn. And one thing I told you was I too grew up Christian. I was Christian for 20 years. Like I did it all. I was a missionary. I preached. I was about that life.
I know,
It,
man. Yeah.
and when I reflect and look back, those were the most depressing and loneliest years of my life. They were awful. They were so much pain. And I think this music, which I believe music is a catalyst to deeper things. This music, these groanings, these deep things that come out of us is people kind of waking up. We don't need a God. We we can live good lives and be kind to people and appreciate the nature around us. Why is it that you and I, when we step out into the forest, we feel so calm and we feel so peaceful when we look at
Yeah. Yeah.
when we look at mountains where it does something to us that looking at a cross or a symbol of religion doesn't do. There's some people,
It connects you with who you are, where
yeah,
you're truly from, and first of all, I just want to say I respect all people from all kind of religions. I love people. I just want to say that, but I do believe that this is my own path and this is my own belief system. I just like to call it spirituality because we had beautiful conversations. Like
yeah.
sadly, people did. We really said to each other like, dude, we should have recorded this stuff. It would be amazing if we could like record it and just share it because I think there's a lot of people who maybe feel in the same boat or felt in the same
Yeah.
situation or who are going through an experience like that because I was really trying to solve my health problems in the hopes that I would really heal, like because uh, I similar as you, I was like, like evangelical kind of, and really much believing, dude. I even went to healing services.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
like it's because I really wanted healing. I really wanted to be, health healed in the way that the Bible talks about
Hmm.
that the miracles, right? And well, as no other how that goes in the churches like that in that side of Christianity. Um, and if people believe that, that's fine. I respect your beliefs, but for me, I found this peace that I didn't find before, and it was it was I don't know if it's the correct word, but tranquility. Is this correct English?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
right. Yeah. So I found a form of like this peace, tranquility in myself, and because of what I when I truly connected with Mother Earth, with nature, and I think that because of my health condition, because I'm not able to just for the people who don't know my health situation, it's like I have this muscle nerve sickness that I have like a battery of 5% on a day, and that's what I have to do it with. So I am most of the days bedridden, housebound, and that's how I have to function. So I actually rarely go out. I rarely go to the forest. But when I do, I'm able to connect very deeply because for me it's so profound. It's almost like, let's say my earthly body is a prison, right? Let's call it like that. Because my soul wants to be in nature, want to be out, I want to be running, but I can't. And maybe there are some people who are listening now who have like a sickness. It doesn't even have to be physically, it can also be mental, right? There are so many people I would say, especially in modern Western society, who deal with depression or anxiety, which is so severe that they, even if they want to go out, they don't feel like that, or y- all these kind of things. So whatever your circumstances are, I think a lot of people can relate to this kind of feeling of where do I belong? How can I connect to myself? What's the meaning of this life? Like, why do I feel like this? Why does the system makes me feel like I feel the way I
Yeah.
do? So that's a big part of it because the system that we live, I really believe that this modern system is not how we are supposed to live. We have beautiful things. The technology that we have. I mean, brother, you are in America. I'm in the Netherlands. That's just yeah, it's we're so lucky that we live in this time to communicate with one another. also healthcare wise, amazing things. But at the same time, are humans truly living nowadays? You know, like we're always on, or humankind, especially the last 10, 20 years, like we're so focused on ourselves and individualism and on our phones and all that kind of stuff. It's like um but this is kind of this progression what you see, you know, when a society is like developing more and more and more and more and more and more and more, and it's like we're so developed, you know, call it developed, but I think we're really losing our touch with who we are as humans and also with each other and the core of who we truly are. And yeah, I think all these kind of themes, what you know, what we're hitting on. This is also what I think what I want to represent in my music, like this connection and that
Mhm.
to help people connect. Um, and of course, I see music as a medicine. You know, like I wanna, I hope that my music can help some people or can help them relax with whatever they're going through, if it's mentally, physically, or a life situation. Yeah, so that's really what I feel. What I want to achieve in this life is like when I get this message from a person like, "Wow, you helped me through this day," or yeah, sometimes I get quite intense messages. They say really personal stories, how my music was able to help them in a situation or in a current situation. That means everything to me because I know what it is to be stuck. And yeah, brother, like we talked about it as well about your life, and you had a lot of stuff to deal with as well. And yeah, I think if people would be truthfully sitting with one another, and there's there's a lot of pain, as you said before, a lot of people are hurting.
And I've already said this, man, to you, but you said that the modern society we're so advanced on a physical level, right? When it comes to
Yeah.
touch and whatever, but yet spiritually it's almost like we're declining. And
Yeah, but yes, man. Like, who are we? Who are we? Who are you? If you say that to a person on the street, like,
yeah,
who are? Where are you? Like, yeah, where I'm from. Is that what you mean? Who I am? Well, my race, my ethnicity, or whatever. But
we
for
start and
example, in yeah,
well, we start to put our identity in what others tell us who we are.
yes, of
Instead
course.
instead of
Yeah,
trusting the voice inside, that intuition, you know, um, I think everybody should go plop their ass down in front of a tree and lean back on that tree and just sit there for a few hours and then talk to me. How do you feel? What do you think?
yeah,
And just be out there in the calm and in the quiet because
yeah.
we have so many voices guiding us and they are not guiding us for our good.
No.
You know, we got social media, we got, but that's why I think people like you that have a message of, listen, I'm every day dealing with things, but I have a perspective of life that we can still make the best of of our life despite the circumstances we're in. That's what people need. I told you this. And I said
Yeah,
the world needs you. Like you are alive for a time that people need this. People need Jonathan. People need people like Jonathan because of you have such a good perspective and not every day is easy. I know that you have emotions and feelings where like some days you're probably like fuck, you know,
yeah, man. Yeah, yeah.
but
It's. hmm
you have a deep soul and that is seen.
Thank you, brother. It's very, very much appreciated. And yeah, you know, I don't want to say that, you know, how I see life, this is the way you should live or whatever. It's not at all. I think if people see life in a certain way, they live how you want to live it
Yeah.
and see whatever it does. But at the end of the day, let's say you have a beautiful life and you do everything what you want and you have all the wishes, you know, everything that your heart desire physically, right? Like all the money, all the cars, all the houses, or whatever. And and then let's say you have a beautiful wife, you get old, you have children, grandkids, and then all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, if you only have worked for physical stuff and for example, maybe not a deeper connection with your kids or your grandchildren, what is at the end of the day, what would if you're dying and your last 10 minutes, for example, and you're feeling that coming, like what you're not thinking about all the money you earned. You're not thinking about all the whatever your job has been,
How
all the
many
jobs.
cars you had? Yeah.
Yeah, like all that stuff that you have achieved in life. I think you're like, okay, what did I experience? What did I spend enough time with my loved ones? All that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like my own. I don't know if it's like a motto or something, but it's like I say always, for example, I say to my wife, every day I live like it's my last. And with that, I mean, I don't have to party, not in that way. That's not living for me. It's like every day I want to have lived as it's my last day. I want to have a good day with you. Every night before we go to sleep, we say, I love you. See you tomorrow, hopefully. And just, close the day off good. And um, it's hard to explain, but my health system is also that I also have a genetic heart disease, which makes it that I sometimes my heart needs to be reset, and I had it a couple of times already. So this is not a nice experience, and I I don't know. I don't want to say I came very close to death because
Yeah.
that's a hard thing to say, but it feels for me like sometimes I came quite close to some situations, with my health,
Yeah.
and um, that's heavy. Um, and for me, because I'm just a sensitive person, that's just how I am. That's also
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
That's also how I can create the stuff that I create, and to and maybe most people are like having such a situation and they go on with their lives and they can easily shift. Not for me, all
Yeah.
that experience. It's like I just feel so thankful to be still here. I have no idea how long I have, or how, or when or when my sickness will get worse, because that's also a possibility. But yeah, I I just really feel that I just want to help people as long as I'm here. Just reach their hearts, their souls, and hopefully I yeah can just be my music, because it's not about me personally, but I just want my music to be there for them, because it's not about Jonathan. That's also like Geldir is yeah, I don't want to say it's like a druid or something, but I see it in a way. It's not me personally. It's almost like a conduit of I want to give something to the people,
Yeah.
because sometimes that's also how it feels for me when I create music.
I bet, I bet that if you were to just one day go, no more, you just stop making music, you would feel like you died. Like this is, it's so interesting that you said conduit because I feel like when you find that thing that when you're living life and all of a sudden you go, oh man, I found my purpose. I know why
Yeah,
I'm alive. All of a sudden, everything makes sense. Everything
yeah,
you know what you're living for, you know what you're headed to. And dude, I get what you mean because I even with what I do, I don't give a shit about numbers or whatever. Like people are watching these videos and I don't know what they're going through. And if
yeah,
and if somehow this can encourage them to let them know that they're not alone and that they're okay and that if they need to talk or whatever, I very much relate with how you perceive this project that you're doing. Very similar. Um, uh, hey, I did want to ask you, Jonathan, before we end this conversation, which those of you that are watching, be prepared because Jonathan and I are going to be doing more of these. Um, we both feel like we have a lot to talk about, and we just feel like this would be really great stuff for you. So be prepared to see lots more of Jonathan on the depths of the melody. But before we close this out, Jonathan, what are you got any plans for like a future album or something? What's going on?
Yeah, so well,
Tell me
it's
all the secrets.
tell me all the secrets. Well, I got okay, so two secrets. I got two collaborations coming up with two wonderful artists.
Ooh.
Um, it's one song is actually in Old Belarusian, and it's with the Slavic artist Zivia. And the other one is actually a song where I explore Indo-European, um let's say, heritage,
Mm.
which is it's very cool to really explore that. There's so much lost. It's very, I maybe archaic is the right word for that. It's very
Mm.
hard to put together, but it's it's with Figunder. It's also an artist
I've
known
heard of
in the,
him.
yeah. Figunder is a great female artist, and also in the Nordic kind of folk genre. So I'm very excited about that. That's coming really beautiful together. And besides that, I'm working on some really cool stuff that I cannot say too much about yet.
Mm.
So um, I let's do that for another call. All right.
Excellent, man. Excellent. Jonathan, man, this was a pleasure for me, man, because I've gotten to know you, and I really mean, everything I say when it comes to your life and what you represent, and just simply, dude, who you are. Like, you're a light, man, and you are a bright spot in this world where people, I feel like people just need to experience, you more. And I'm really grateful, man, that you took those steps years ago when you started this project and you stepped out into the unknown and you're like, oh, I don't know, but let's do it. You followed that voice in your spirit, your heart, and you already know, man, you've had such a profound effect on so many people. And I always tell you, I go, man, just some random guy from West Virginia in America to cross your path, dude. It's very just really great for me, man. It's awesome. So thank you, man, for everything.
Oh, thank you so much, Tommy, and you're light as well, brother. It's just amazing what you do. I love what you do, man, and it's I can't wait to do more talks with you. I
Mhm.
love our conversations. It feels so natural, and yeah, let's have some more talks with each other, share it with the world, and I think hopefully there are some people out there, and I do think there are definitely some people out there who would love to listen to what we have to say because we had some very beautiful talks together.
Absolutely, man. You have an amazing day, my dude.
You too, brother.